cares about the look of cameras? All that matters is the image quality. Well, let me ask you this. Have you met photographers?
Welcome to Japan. This is not Japan.
Yeah, sure.
I'm gonna fire all you motherfuckers.
This is a very worthy Nikkor. Wait, no Nikkor. If Thanos visited Hong Kong, he would have ended his quest right there.
What a f***ing psycho.
But the lenses flare. But the flare. I've got a bone to pick with Nikon. For years, I've been watching Fuji and Olympus releasing these amazing, beautiful vintage cameras, and all Nikon has given us was the DF 10 years ago. Now there is the ZF and the ZF-C, which looks and feels great, but here's the problem. While the body is undeniably attractive, the lenses they have produced, yikes.
There's nothing really wrong with the lenses themselves. The optics are great, although they have lost a lot of the aesthetics personalities of yesteryear.
These special edition lenses are the best they can come up with so far, but they're a bit plasticky and a little bit rough around the edges. The DF, on the contrary, while it has its flaws, it has all these beautiful f-mount lenses to pair with. Look at the 35 and the 50mm here. What a killer combo. Now, you can technically put these lenses on the ZF, however, with the adapter, it doesn't look so good anymore. This is like building a beautiful Pagani supercar and then putting a wheel of cheese on it. It just doesn't look the part. Now, before you say, who cares about the look of cameras? All that matters is the image quality and the rest is just vanity. Well, let me ask you this. Have you met photographers? They're the most superficial, visually driven creatures out there. Honestly, all photographers are red flags. Don't even try to date one or marry one. It's really not worth it. Yeah, she agrees. Ever since I got the Nikon ZF body, I've been looking for a lens that looks as good as this 35mm Nikkor S on the DF to really complete the package. But such a thing didn't really exist until now. So without further ado, I'm going to take you to the birthplace of Nikon to get our hands on one of the most beautiful Z lenses ever made. Ladies and gentlemen,
Welcome to Japan. This is not Japan. This is Hong Kong. Why are we in Hong Kong?
flight is cheaper.
Flights are cheaper? How much?
Around $50.
Are you kidding me?
I'm all kinds of bad when I drop on the beat. Taking down my hair, got your eyes on me. You need it, you want it, but can you handle this? This lollipop is poppin', 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 poppin'.
But you know what? We'll make do just fine because Hong Kong is awesome for camera gear. Firstly, it's tax-free. And secondly, with China and Japan right next door, it's arguably one of the best places in the world to pick up all kinds of camera equipments. They have these malls that literally have floors and floors of camera gears, old and new, waiting to be purchased. And after a quick visit to Mong Kok, which is the Akihabara electric town of Hong Kong, we found exactly what we're here for. Okay, so here we are, the 35mm f1.4 Z mount. It's got a nice retro box to it, 1960s in the back, and it looks amazing on the camera. It definitely looks like it should have been the kit lens that went with the ZF instead of the 40mm. And you know, just from the looks itself, I'd say this is a very worthy Nikkor. Wait, no Nikkor. Non-Nikkor? It says non-Nikkor MC f 3.5 centimeters, 1960s, Ultralab Hong Kong. Surprise! On the body, it says assembled in China, lens designed in Hong Kong. So this is in fact not a real Nikkor lens. Now this is weird. Of all the places for a retro Nikkor lookalike lens to be created, Hong Kong seems very random. Or is it? You see, when Nikon started making film cameras back in the 50s, Hong Kong was one of the quickest evolving cities in the world. Housing projects were put up very quickly to accommodate the dense population, then torn right back down within a short span of 2 to 3 decades, only to be rebuilt for more housing. Street food was getting banned, manufacturing jobs moved to China, and the city expanded in an explosive way. So the things you grew up with can go extinct in the blink of an eye. The entertainment here is endless. From amazing nightlife to gorgeous sceneries, there are no reasons to be bored here.
But that only serves to mask one of the most endearing facts about the city, that Hong Kong is the nostalgic capital of the world.
This here behind me is the Tiny Q toy store, and they have two tricks up their sleeves. Number one, they have a time machine. Number two, they have a shrink ray. And all they do is send a guy back in time and shrink anything they can find. Buses, buildings, literal trash cans, and they bring it back here to sell.
Give it to me.
These are the signs that they put in front of minibuses that tell you where they go, but with a spin. For example, this one says adopt, don't abandon. This one says dog slave. And my favorite one, I'm gonna fire all you motherfuckers.
What a psycho.
Now, unlike the I Love Hong Kong t-shirts, this stuff only really resonates with the locals. So guess how many stores they have here in Hong Kong? 3, 5, for a tiny little speck of a city? No, they have 20 of these stores around Hong Kong. And by comparison, Henry's, Canada's largest photography equipment store, also only has 20 stores across the entire nation. And Canada is at least, 3 times bigger than Hong Kong. And that's a fact.
Wow, so freaking factual.
I can't think of a better way to test out this lens, but to take it out on the streets of Hong Kong and try to capture some of this nostalgia that Hong Kong people are so famous for.
Almost as soon as my hunt for the past began, I noticed something was off. A lot of these are actually still around. And then it hit me. The nostalgia was never about the items, it was about the people. Fact is, between 2021 and 2022, 1.6% of people have emigrated and left Hong Kong. That's 113,000. Doesn't sound like much on paper, right? Well, let's zoom out. 1.6% per year means that during your childhood years alone, 1/3 of the people you knew have left. Meaning by the time you're 30, 50% of the people you know have disappeared. If Thanos visited Hong Kong, he would have ended his quest right there. So if you can't hold on to your people, why not fill the emptiness of their absence with the mementos of childhood? So it only makes sense that the birthplace of this 1960 tribute is from Hong Kong. And you should take comfort in that, because they really know how to do nostalgia justice. And now, sharing its fate with many Hong Kong folks, this copy of the lens must also depart its birthplace to a new home. But at least it'll get to meet the DF, which is his uncle or brother or stepdad.
Okay, now that we're back, we can take a closer look at the lens, its image quality, and whether or not this can be recommended. I do find the colors to be vibrant with high contrast, which is nice. The bokeh is a bit of a hit and miss. Sometimes it does produce pretty creamy background, but sometimes it feels a bit nervous. Distortion is not that well controlled. There are distortions in the corners, as you will see. And this lens flares a lot. I generally really like flare because it adds character to an image and it makes it look less clinical. But this one might just be a tad too much if you're doing videography work. So for video work, you might have some trouble controlling it. It's a 1.4, you want to shoot this wide open, that's why I buy 1.4s. This does not have the sharpest image at 1.4. And you can see this across the focusing distance, close up or infinity. It's not bad, but it's definitely not tack sharp. But like many 1.4s, it does have really good background separation, which means you can get by if you're not pixel peeping or if you're not doing professional high megapixel photography. This lens is best suited for everyday photos, vacations, and personal photography. The key to appreciating the images this lens produces is not really to judge it by its sharpness, but the sum of its parts. Okay, let's get the bad news out of the way. If you're looking for the sharpest 35 1.4 out there, this isn't it. Because for that, you would rather have this. This is a Tamron 35mm 1.4. For the F mount, you can adapt it to the Z, and it's absolutely the sharpest lens I own, sharper than any of my other 1.4 lenses. And it also has autofocus. So image quality, bang for the buck, this wouldn't hold up to the Tamron. But that's not why you would buy a lens like the Ultralab here. There's so much more to photography than just clinical looks and sharpness. Can't really compare a workhorse to something that's designed to give you a special experience like this lens here. The real question here is if this lens brings out the old school film camera or the DF experience. And so let's compare a little bit closer to the DF. So here it is next to the DF, and compared to the adapted version of the vintage lens, this really looks the part. I mean, it's not perfectly replicated to the S lens, nor was it trying to. I will say the S lens does look better in my books. The color details are debossed on it, so it feels more premium. I have to say that I love the bevel on the Nikkor S, and for the Ultralab is just a flat surface on top, which does reflect some of the older Nikon lenses, but it's just not as pretty as this. The scalloping on the Ultralab isn't as deep as the S lens. The S lens has another scallop at the back. I just really love the look of the vintage lens we have here. With that said though, the Ultralab is as close as we have to the old S line. And when it comes to set mount lenses, its looks and feel are second to none. It really puts what Nikon has given us to shame. And more than that, because of the metal construction, the balance of this lens is perfect on the ZF. So when you're holding this, it doesn't feel front or back heavy, it just feels right. And you know that there's a lens out here. Whereas if you compare to the DF and the 35 here, it just kind of feels like air. The body is big and heavy and the lens is a little bit too light, so it feels like you're just holding a body. If you're behind the camera, you feel like there's nothing attached. It's very subtle, but I really do appreciate the feel of the Ultralab on the ZF. So who is this lens recommended for? Well, for starters, if you have a Nikon ZF or a ZF-C, you should definitely get one of these, especially if you like to look at your camera and have it on display, kind of like what I have here. It's really an eye candy. If you don't plan on getting a ZF or a ZF-C, I wouldn't worry about it. If you're looking for a bit of a vintage looking lens and don't mind the imperfections or the lack of a clinical look, this is also a good option. As someone who has built and launched multiple products, yes, this thing is expensive, but this is how it starts with all small businesses. You don't have the capacity to build a lot of lenses, so therefore your costs are higher, and you really have to find the right niche market for your audience. And a super niche product like this can be underappreciated, it can fail, it can be here today, gone tomorrow, and then next thing you know, people will be scalping these on eBay for a lot more money. So if you appreciate rarities, if you appreciate the effort that Ultralab had put into making a lens like this and this look resonates with you, you should absolutely get it because you never know when this might go extinct. And let's be honest, this lens is fun. Now, who else is gonna make a lens and call it non-Nikkor? I really hope Nikon doesn't take any legal action against it because it's really fun. Ultimately, this lens will live on my ZF permanently when it's sitting up there on display, and I will use it a lot to take pictures of my dogs or whatever is happening around the house. I will also use it occasionally when I'm out. Is this my favorite lens of all time? Probably not. Will I appreciate the hell out of it every time I look up and see it? Definitely. At least until Nikon steps up its nostalgic lens game, which I no longer have to hold my breath for. But the lens this flare produces, but the flare this lens produces, but the lens this flare, but the flare.
You were doing good.
This is what you can expect on the next 10,000 episodes. This was my brand of camera bag, and I'm going to review it like I have nothing to do with it. Welcome to Totally Biased Reviews. Want to know how to smuggle a dog on a plane?
Well, it's not real travel tips until you explore hospital fees. It smells so good.